let's get straight to the point. You trust science, right? It gave you vaccines, the internet, and that pill that promises to end a headache in 15 minutes, and you still get mad if it takes 16. But despite all that brilliance, there are certain things that even make scientists scratch their heads as if they had existential lice. Here are 8 terrifying things that science still cannot explain. And spoiler, none of them will make you feel any calmer tonight. Number 8. The Taos Hum. Imagine living in a town where the sound of hell is exclusive just for you. A deep, constant hum, as if someone had left the microwave running on torture mode. Congratulations, you're in Taos, New Mexico. Since the 1990s, residents have reported hearing a sound that no one else can record. Literally, technicians with high-precision equipment went there, and guess what? Nothing. Just silence. But the sound continues, inside some people's heads. They called it the Taos Hum, but it could just as well be the demon's sound signature. Theories. There's something for everyone. Secret radio waves, invisible seismic activity, collective hallucinations, and even the classic, it's all in your head. But the craziest part is that similar phenomena have been reported in different places around the world. It's as if planet Earth is trying to put on a 3D stereo acoustic horror show. The most logical explanation: spontaneous autoacoustic emissions. In other words, your ear producing a sound out of nowhere. Just because. Basically, your auditory system decided to play a continuous bass solo for no one. Number 7. Spontaneous human combustion. Waking up in flames for no apparent reason. Sounds like something out of a bad 80s horror movie. But believe it, this has actually happened in real life. People who simply catch fire. And we're not talking about sunburn, but literally turning into human barbecue, complete with ashes, but with no explanation for the grill. The victim, almost always alone. The scene, house intact. And the body, charred down to almost dust, with the feet still wearing intact slippers, just to make the scene worse. The most common scientific explanation is the wick effect. The body's fat would serve as fuel, and the clothes as the wick. But you need a source of ignition, right? Right. Except in the most famous cases, no one found anything. No matches, no short circuit, no campfire with marshmallows. It's as if the body said, I'm tired of being solid, time to turn into smoke. So, if one day you start heating up for no reason, maybe it's not early menopause. It could be spontaneous combustion knocking at your door. Number 6. The nocebo effect. You've probably heard of the placebo effect. That miracle where taking a fake medicine makes you get better just because you believe you will. But it has a dark twin, the nocebo effect. And it's like the evil cousin who loves to ruin the party. Instead of making you better, the nocebo makes your body believe it's getting worse. You take a sugar pill, think you're going to get sick, and boom, headache, nausea, fatigue, even symptoms no one wants to talk about. Clinical trials show that people receiving placebo report real side effects, all created by the mind. Your brain is so dramatic that it can literally make your body sick just because you're too worried. But the best, or worst part, is that the nocebo can trigger serious physical effects. There are documented cases of people who even died because they believed they were doomed. The power of the human mind in its most tragic and sarcastic form. In short, your brain can be your best doctor or your worst executioner. Don't underestimate the inner drama. Number 5. The vanishing twin. Imagine discovering that inside your body there's a little sibling you never knew. No, it's not your weird cousin. It's something more literal, a twin who disappeared before you were even born, but left traces behind. The so-called vanishing twin syndrome happens when, early in pregnancy, There were two embryos, but one was absorbed by the other. In other words, you swallowed your twin in the womb, literally. This can leave behind tissue remnants, teeth, or even underdeveloped eyes in your body. Ever thought about that? A little piece of your sibling hidden inside you, making you half human, half biological enigma. Science still doesn't fully understand how this happened, but the idea of carrying a vanishing twin inside you is as disturbing as it is fascinating. Number 4. Sleep paralysis. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, conscious, wanting to scream, to move, but your body is completely frozen, as if you were a car dealership balloon figure in a parade, only much, much scarier. This is the famous sleep paralysis, a phenomenon where your brain wakes up before your body, which is still in that deep REM sleep phase that paralyzes the muscles to prevent you from acting out your worst fantasies in real life. But here's the macabre twist. During this body prison, many people report feeling a malevolent presence in the room, pressure on the chest, a suffocating sensation, and even hallucinations of shadowy figures. In other words, it's the perfect script for a horror movie, except it's happening in your real life, every night or frequently. Science knows what happens in the brain, but it has no definitive explanation for the horrible sensations that accompany the phenomenon. Some believe it is a kind of brain ghost, a confusion between dreams and wakefulness. So, the next time you wake up and can't move, know that your body is just taking a break, and your brain, maybe, is having some fun in your personal movie. Number 3. Cotard's smile. Imagine looking in the mirror and thinking, I don't exist. Now multiply that by the intensity of a real medical diagnosis, and you have Cotard's syndrome, also known as walking corpse syndrome. Patients with this condition believe they are dead, that their organs have disappeared, or that they are rotting alive. It's like a deep delusion that turns reality into an existential nightmare. Science still doesn't know exactly what causes this terrifying sensation, but it suspects a dysfunction in the areas of the brain responsible for self-perception and sensory integration. In other words, your brain turns off the button that says, I am here, and everything turns to chaos. Patients may refuse food, water, even basic care, because they are convinced they are corpses. It is psychological horror taken to the extreme, and things get worse when combined with severe depression or schizophrenia, creating a recipe for the scariest mental drama you never even knew existed. Number 2. The scare of false memory. Have you ever sworn something happened the A way, but someone proves it happened the B way, and you're left there thinking your brain is sulking or trying to troll you? Welcome to the world of false memories, where your brain builds stories that seem true but are as real as a real unicorn. People can remember events that never happened, mix up details, create entire scenes in their heads, and swear they're facts. This happens because memory is not a perfect recording, but a puzzle constantly assembled and reassembled, subject to errors, distortions, and of course, plenty of imagination from your lazy brain. The most terrifying part, you can be a victim of your own false memories without even realizing it. And this has serious implications in testimonies, trials, and even relationships. Have you ever thought about being convicted of something that didn't even happen, just because your mind decided to make it up? Science doesn't fully understand how or why our brain does these mental acrobatics. It only knows that it happens and can be influenced by emotions, suggestions, and even simple tricks. Basically, your mind is a screenwriter who loves drama and isn't too concerned with the truth. Number 1. Consciousness. The greatest mystery. You are you. Or at least you think you are. But what exactly is this thing called consciousness? Science can study neurons, synapses, and brainwaves until the end of the century, but it still can't explain what the I is that is reading this right now. Consciousness is that inner stage where all your experiences, thoughts, and feelings take place. But how did this stage come to be? Why do we have this sensation of being here? And why aren't we just biological machines with no sense of self? Neuroscientists have created theories, some very elaborate, others a bit far-fetched, but none definitively answer why or how consciousness emerges. It's one of those problems that seems impossible to solve, like the last level of a video game that keeps you stuck for hours. This means that while science advances, there is still a deep mystery. Who is the you that is reading these words? And worse, does it even exist? In the end, consciousness is the greatest riddle of human existence, a puzzle that perhaps we may never have an answer to. And that's it for today. If you enjoy these scientific mysteries, subscribe to the channel. More amazing videos are on the way.